Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm literally Moby.
And this is the news.
So we got some big stories today, and it doesn't get much bigger than Vince McMahon.
The big man himself.
The second best big man in pro wrestling. He is very upset.
Shock horror.
Who do you think he's upset with?
Himself.
We'll get to that in a bit. For now, he's upset with The Undertaker, of all people. So obviously the news last week broke that The Undertaker will be appearing at StarCast 2 over Double or Nothing weekend. It's not an AEW event, but it is an AEW adjacent event. We obviously know there are ties between Conrad Thompson, who has been close to distance himself and StarCast from AEW, but there are ties. He was at the rallies, he presented them, blah, blah, blah. Now, obviously, The Undertaker has been with WWE for 29 years. He is seen as a company guy through and through, or at least he was until this. Vince McMahon and him have always seemed to have a very good relationship, and obviously Vince feels a little bit scorned. So this is all according to Shagger Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio. Vince McMahon is furious that The Undertaker has taken this booking, and yeah, I guess the chances of him appearing at WrestleMania 35 are probably dead now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird this, because obviously some WWE legends are going to be appearing at StarCast as well. Do you think it's just because he still has the potential to come back and do lots of work within the company as opposed to just randomly appearing for little segments?
I think that's an element of it. I also think that like a bunch of the other guys who are appearing at StarCast, you got like Ric Flair, Jerry Lawler, Jonathan Coachman, people like that who have gone away from the company and come back and are maybe not seen as WWE guys. I mean, Ric Flair should never be seen as a WWE guy. Jerry Lawler should be seen as a Memphis guy. Yeah. Jonathan Coachman should be seen as a useless idiot. So I think it's a case of, because The Undertaker, obviously he wrestled before he joined WWE, but WWE created him as a star. He is synonymous with the company. His gimmick is the most important gimmick in the company's history. I think it's that, and honestly, I think Vince feels like maybe The Undertaker's breaking a near 30-year bond as well.
Yeah, I can understand that, unless this is all a work and we're getting Vince versus Taker at Mania.
Imagine the banter.
Speaking of Vince McMahon, though, a little bit of an update from the Wrestling Observer regarding those NXT call-ups we saw this week. Some of the biggest stars in NXT were brought up on Raw and SmackDown, wrestled and, well, looked fantastic for the most part. And the reason behind that, it has been revealed, is because Vince McMahon believes his current roster is, quote, stale and there are no superstars in it.
This is hilarious.
Whose fault's that?
Yeah, whose fault is this? Goddamn, Hunter, I've got no stars, pal. This is absurd. Like, man creates no stars, then a few years later complains about having no stars.
Man shoots himself in the foot and complains about limp.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Like, this is, I mean, I'm honestly lost for words. It's unfathomable. Like, he's the guy who makes these stars. So if he feels that like a guy like a Seth Rollins or a Braun Strowman or an AJ Styles or whoever isn't doing it to the level he'd like, that's his fault. I mean, fair enough, he's brought up for probably the biggest names in NXT. Yeah. Probably, and arguably the 4 best wrestlers in NXT as well. It's just kind of really weird. Like, the lack of self-awareness there is mind-blowing.
Well, you look at WWE's roster, which is arguably the biggest roster it's ever been.
Yeah, it's about 300 deep. It's mental.
And yes, they have some fantastically talented people, like the guys who came up down in NXT. But look across Raw and SmackDown, and I know we get lambasted sometimes for moaning about the wrestling, but we're not moaning about the quality of wrestling, we're moaning about the way that they have been booked. You've got people throughout that roster who are stars. You've got people feuding over minor titles who could quite easily be headliners at WrestleMania for this company, and you're moaning about them, but it's your own fault, Vince.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. And the fact that, like, I don't think that taking guys from NXT and then just putting them on the main roster just instantly makes them a star above everyone else either. It's down to the way these people are presented. Like, it's things like 50-50 booking and scripted promos and bland match types and screwy finishes and stuff. It just prevents people from getting over.
This current roster's stale, and we need to get these new NXT guys over. Have them wrestle someone rubbish like, oh, I don't know, Andrade.
Yeah. Yeah. Andrade's a good example though, because like up until Tuesday night, it was like they were getting behind him. He was having these great matches with Rey Mysterio. They might have another one, who knows? And then he just loses to Aleister Black, who no one knew in New Orleans. Really weird situation. Vince McMahon is bloody crazy. And
speaking of which.
Yeah, speaking of which. So,
I can't get over this story.
It's a really weird news day today, guys. So basically, Ronda Rousey, the current speculation is she'll be out of the company or taking a hiatus sometime after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Okay? So at the moment, WWE have essentially a big three of women's wrestling. They have Ronda Rousey, they have Becky Lynch, and they have Charlotte Flair.
And they have Asuka, who they've ruined.
Who they've ruined. So when Ronda goes, that'll be down to a big two. But Vince McMahon is going to bring it up to a big three once again.
Oh, okay.
Who do you think? I'll give you three guesses. Who's going to fill that void when Ronda Rousey goes?
I really like Sonya Deville at the moment. I think she's fantastic.
Me too, the real shooter.
Yeah, not her?
Not her.
Nia Jax is an obvious suggestion.
They love Nia Jax, but it's not Nia Jax.
I don't know, maybe rehabilitate one of the best wrestlers you've had in years in Asuka.
No. Ember Moon? No. Sasha Banks? Bayley? No. No, no, no. Kairi Sane? Io Shirai? Shayna Baszler? No. It is a Lacey Evans.
Inexplicable.
Lacey Evans. This is furthering on from a rumour that started circulating earlier this week that she had been pinpointed as an opponent for Asuka at WrestleMania. Dave Meltzer claims, and we're talking a lot about Dave today, that WWE see her as this kind of like era-defining, division headlining figure on the same level as Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair.
And so they're putting her over by doing the grandpa gif from The Simpsons, as Simon Miller pointed out yesterday.
Yeah, like...
She's doing what Eva Marie did. Do they think she was going to be an era-defining megastar?
I mean, like, in all seriousness, I'm all for giving new talent a chance.
Yes.
Pushing fresh
And she had that
faces.
chance at the Women's Royal Rumble and botched it.
This is it. She was in the Women's Royal Rumble. She got a focus spot in that. She couldn't even do a bloody kip up. She mistimed a spot where her and Natalya were supposed to get up at the same time. Lacey Evans is not very good. Lacey Evans should have been in NXT for at least 2 or 3 more years. She's very inexperienced, she's very green, she's very raw. On Raw this week, she was doing a bloody bushwhacker walk with a goddamn heavy machinery, who we love.
Yeah.
That's just weird. On SmackDown, she just showed up in the middle of that Mandy Rose Asuka match and did nothing. Like,
Didn't even cost her the match, by the way.
Didn't even cost her the match, didn't feed into the finish. Like, they don't have a clue what they're doing with her at the moment, and if they are trying to build her into Ronda Rousey 2.0, they have not made a good start.
Inexplicable.
I'm speechless.
To continue our weird news stories for the day, the final story today centres around Hulk Hogan. But don't worry everyone, it's not anything that bad.
Wilborn, they're going to call us cucks and stuff anyway.
Okay.
You might as well.
It is the revelation that Chris Hemsworth is going to be playing Hulk Hogan in his biopic.
Very sexy man, Chris Hemsworth.
I mean, what do you think about all this?
I think Chris Hemsworth's a very sexy man.
Fair enough.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. Interesting story, very interesting, particularly as, what's his name, Bradley Cooper has been apparently attached to this as some kind of executive producer or producer, and he was slated to play Vince McMahon in that biopic that was rumoured 2 years ago and we've heard nothing about since. So that whole thing kind of ties together. WWE have released a wee update on this on their website, so they're obviously happy about it going ahead. Now the producer, I don't recall his name, I am very sorry, is the same guy who worked on Spotlight, which is one of my favourite films from the past few years.
Yeah.
Which suggests to me that the tonally is going to be quite heavy. That was a very heavy film, very slow moving, slow burning. But it's about Hulk bloody Hogan. Like, those two things don't really go hand in hand. Now, say what you will about recent controversy surrounding the guy, but he's a big, bold, bright character behind the scenes and on screen. It's really interesting to see how those things mesh.
Yeah, when you say wrestling to a casual fan, outside of your likes of John Cena and The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, older fans, would automatically go to Hulk Hogan. Yeah. So it's intriguing to see what they're going to do with that.
Oscar winner Michael Sugar.
There we go, Mikey Shugs. Michael Sugar.
There we go. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions for today. Don't forget you can tweet them at us at WhatCultureWWE. Let's start off with a question from Joel Henderson, who talks to us about those NXT call-ups, saying, could we see the likes of other NXT stars coming to Raw and SmackDown and see what reaction they would get? And if so, who do you want the most to come up?
I think we could see it, just based on recent news stories, and they've already brought, 9 people up already this year. I don't think they should, because it would drain NXT and they'd be very short-handed as far as stars go. Who would I like to see come up? I mean, I would love to see Dream kill it. I would love to see Velveteen Dream come up and kill it. However, I think he'd be best served in developmental for a while longer. So by that matter, Adam Cole.
Adam Cole.
He's ready. He's ready.
Bring all the Undisputed Era up.
Yeah,
we were talking
all of
yesterday about them potentially doing some sort of invasion angle. I'm not saying we should do another invasion angle here, but something where they just come in, win all the gold on their first night. I think it'd be fantastic. For me, if it's not either of those, it's got to be Matt Riddle. Campaigning for Matt Riddle to go up as soon as possible because he's just amazing.
He's quality.
And he cut a promo recently saying he's going to retire Brock Lesnar and make the sport better. Bro. If not him, Buggs. Eric Bugenhagen. Get him on the main roster yesterday.
What noise does Bugenhagen make, Adam?
Gee whiz, man. Will Russ
How
asks,
he got tinnitus?
how would you feel about WWE booking Buddy Murphy versus Rey Mysterio under the guise of Buddy Murphy believing he's the best cruiserweight in the company and has no equal?
Get in my veins. That sounds incredible. Can you imagine the quality of match they'd have? Like, Ray has been killing it lately. He's been so good since coming back. The Andrade matches have been awesome. Buddy Murphy is one of the most consistent in-ring performers in the company. He's a guy who takes a lot of cues from modern wrestling. This is extremely nerdy, but there was a big DDT title match at the weekend on Sunday. Buddy Murphy was like taking little bits out of that and putting it into his match with Akira Tozawa. This guy gets wrestling. Rey Mysterio is a goddamn legend. I think that match would be incredible.
Absolutely.
And the story leading into it that you've just described there is phenomenal too.
Good choice, Will.
Good choice.
Final question comes from Noah Grutel-Hoyt, who says, John Cena's future with WWE is kind of up in the air at this point. Do you think John should transition fully to movies, putting over a hard-working superstar on his way out, or bring him back for another run, build him up even more, and make his retirement special?
Yeah, I think the latter. Like, I think it's what he deserves. Like, whether you've liked or hated John Cena throughout his career, he is one of the biggest draws in the company history. He's one of the most popular wrestlers in the company history, despite his divisiveness online. He is a certified merch shifter. He has given his life, his blood, his sweat, his tears to this business for ages and ages. He deserves a big go away? That's not nice.
Go away.
A big retirement program. I think it's earned. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be a nice way to work it in, and yeah, you do kind of feel that if they just had him have one more match, it would feel a little bit weird. I think you need to build him up back again. I think you would want to see, one more match. I think him versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania is the match.
I'm in.
But
100%. You can tease it like he's going for his 17th world title. Break Ric Flair's record instead of being equal on it, and then that would get the internet really annoyed and worked up, and it would be really fun.
Exactly. Right, let's move on to today's and finally. And normally there's a bit of a history to what we're talking about here. I've done lots of research. Today though, it's a nice day outside in Newcastle upon Tyne. I just want to put smiles on faces, and I just saw this lovely photo. It made me happy. I hope it makes you happy. It's from Alexa Bliss's Instagram, and it's just her in bed with a pig.
Oh, look at the size of that lad.
Bloody massive, this
It's an absolute unit.
and he's got his own Twitter.
Oh, Larry Steve. I've seen Larry Steve before, but he was not that big.
Yeah, Larry Steve's got big.
He's a big old unit, him, isn't he? He is,
Congratulations.
as internet people might say, a thick boy.
2 C's.
Yeah, 2 C's, B-O-I.
Let us know your thoughts on Larry
31
Steve.
years old.
Let us know your thoughts on Larry Steve, Andy Murray's resemblance to Moby, or all of today's news stories in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow us all on Twitter.
Full Moby.
You have to do this, surely. That'd make you even more Moby.
Yeah, here you go.
There we go. Right. You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. You can follow him on Twitter at
Moby.
Moby. You can follow our lovely editor, Adam Nicholas, at It's Adam Nicholas. You can follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes or Spotify for daily wrestling podcasts. My thanks to Moby. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon. Steve Davis.
Dennis Taylor.